Big news as Formula 1 heads into Canada this weekend. Daniel Ricciardo has confirmed he will be taking the clause in his contract to step away from the Lancia team at the midway point of the season after next weekend's Austrian Grand Prix. The Australian currently sat in last place in the Drivers' Championship, unhappy with how not only he but also his team is performing at the moment. Meanwhile, his teammate Matt Beard currently sitting P4 in the championship heading into the Canadian Grand Prix. It's unclear yet whether Ricciardo has agreed to make a switch to another team on the grid, but it's safe to say silly season is about to start.
Quickly though, before we get into this video, I want to thank all of the names you see on your screen. Without their continued support of the channel, none of the work we do here would be possible. And if you want to get your name featured on this list, you can click the join button or click the Patreon link down in my description below and support the channel from just £1 a month. You will also get access to weekly updates about everything going on behind the scenes, and also occasionally some early previews on videos. So yeah, a massive thank you to my YouTube members and my Patreon supporters, and let's get back to the video. Hello everyone and welcome back to round 7 of season 2 of the F123 Lancia My Team Career Mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Canadian Grand Prix. Almost halfway through this season, it's safe to say there has been a lot of ups and a lot of downs so far. But yeah, just quickly, obviously want to apologise. It has been over a week since the last episode. As many of you know that watch various other videos on the channel, I've been feeling a little bit under the weather over the course of last weekend, so didn't manage to get an extra video out from this series, but fingers crossed as we head to Montreal, all things should be resuming as normal there. Aston Martin best currently as we head into the circuit. Gio Villeneuve there, so I'm sure Lance Stroll a little bit gutted that he is without a drive within the team anymore. But yeah, championship wise though, Verstappen's still with a 16-point lead now over George Russell, but then it is the three Brits there, Russell, Norris and myself, lined up second through to P4. 4 points between the top three teams and the constructors as well there. Red Bull leading the way ahead of Mercedes and McLaren. But also, leaving this weekend, there is going to be a poll over on the community tab here on YouTube for who you would like to see become our teammate for the rest of this season. As you would have seen in the intro there, Daniel Ricciardo has decided he will not be re-signing with the team, still last place overall in the Drivers' Championship. So I'm going to throw up a few options over there that I think you guys are hopefully going to like. So yeah, make sure you check out the community tab later on today. But yeah, let's do this thing though here for the Canadian Grand Prix. Well, heading into qualifying then here from Montreal, I think all eyes are really on the skies above. Saturday, it looks like it should say dry for the rest of qualifying, but race day Sunday apparently is meant to feature a lot of changeable conditions. A dry to wet, and maybe even back to a dry Grand Prix here. There's a little bit of a mistake through the first couple of turns. Qualifying pace I've always struggled with here in Montreal in the recent F1 games, so how will we fare today? We're really struggling with the balance of the brakes on this first lap, but yeah, I've tried to really set up the car towards being strong over a race distance, as we've only got the final chicane to try and navigate. Let's try to avoid the wall of champions on the outside. They're actually a pretty tidy line, if I do say so myself. Up towards the line, though, it's going to be a 1 minute 10.6. Puts us P12, actually, so that's better than I thought we'd do. But I think we're still waiting on a lot of other drivers to finish their laps. Well, what a difference then 5 minutes can make in qualifying. There's no idea what's going on in front. Everyone kind of tripping over each other, desperate to try and find some track space here to try and get one more lap on the board. But yeah, Ricciardo and I have slotted down to 19th and 20th then, as everyone else has completed their runs. So we've got to try and find a lot of time here on this second run here. The entire field covered by about 1.3 seconds though, so any improvement might see you leapfrog your way at the order there. Plenty of curb through the first chicane. And that's a pretty good sector 1 then. Just see forcing the front end out a little bit. We have a little bit more oversteer there than I really would have wanted. This is where we've really struggled though, down at the hairpin. You can see a much better line that time around though. He's going to still leave us in the green. 3/10 up though, as I don't really think there's going to be much time we can find through the Wall of Champions chicane. So we're probably in for quite a tough qualifying session here then, as tipping our way in will go. A little bit off balance there on the exit, so it's going to be a very small improvement. It is going to be a 1 minute 10.3, and I believe that's about P17. Yes, it is. That's been a bit of a disaster. Well, Ferrari haven't had much to smile about so far this season, but it is Charles Leclerc on pole position then here in Montreal. Carlos Sainz will join him on the front row there, so the former Ferrari duo. You can see really fine margins there. Yuki Tsunoda up in P4 ahead of Max Verstappen, World Championship leader. Lando Norris as well down in 7th place there. Bottas down in P13, but 7 tenths away from pole position is only good enough for 17th place here. 21 cars covered by just 8 tenths of a second. Hamilton down in P19 on a track that he used to love, so there is a lot to watch out for then. But let's do this thing here for the Canadian Grand Prix. Quickly though, before we get into that, I want to thank today's video sponsor, Fanatec. Yes, I have used Fanatec gear now for many years, and they still are a dominant force in the sim racing space. If you're racing on Xbox or PC, nothing really comes close, and their PC offerings are still absolutely brilliant. If you're interested in ever shopping for any Fanatec products, it would be greatly appreciated if you would use my link down in the description below. At no additional cost to yourself, you massively help support the channel, and yeah, I just want to say thank you for Fanatec for their continued support.
Montreal is not only the second largest French-speaking city in the world, but it's home since 1978 to the Canadian Grand Prix. The name Villeneuve looms large over this one, but who can write their own legends today? We'll be seeing top speeds of around 210 miles per hour here at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, with around 2/3 of the lap taken at full throttle. High-speed chicanes spell potential danger, especially the infamous Wall of Champions, and watch out for overtaking into the hairpin and that final chicane. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and a very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Russell, Magnussen, Norris, Oscar Piastri, Ocon, Gasly, Albon, Bottas, Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, Verstappen, Iwasa, Perez, Firestarter, Théo Pourchaire, Hamilton, Joe, Ricciardo, Sargent, and Liam Lawson. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today.
Well, as I mentioned in qualifying then, all eyes are going to be on the sky today, but with the rain looming towards the end of the afternoon, often you find here in Montreal that the weather actually comes in earlier than the game predicts as well. So I'm going to bolt on a set of mediums here, really try and take him deep into the Grand Prix and see where we end up. But penalties for Max Verstappen then, so he's going to be starting this one further down the order as well as our World Championship leader. This gives Lando Norris and George Russell a huge opportunity to take some points out of the Dutchman there. But ready on the grid then, here for the Canadian Grand Prix, we've got Iwasa and Perez just in front of me, 5 red lights. A mighty long hole, but it is lights out and away we go there. It's actually doing pretty well off the start. Hulkenberg going nowhere, so that leaves Verstappen a little bit stuck as we try to look around the outside of Iwasa. Down in towards turn 1, they're really finding an avenue through the first couple of corners as Alex Albon tries to slam the door on me, and we almost...
Reducing our overall capacity. The more charge you hold, the faster that capacity will drop.
Almost got ourselves into the points there off the start of the Grand Prix, so really did do a fantastic job to move up into P11 then as we follow that Williams Lamborghini car out through Sector 2. But yeah, Verstappen really caught out wrong place at the wrong time there for the Dutchman. We're still yet to win a Grand Prix this season, but I think, you know, in P4 in the Championship, we could certainly argue that we are in with a shot at the title. Obviously still got a long way to go of this season, as down the inside of Alex Albon there. It was either down the inside or run into the back of him and potentially risk some front wing damage, so we'll try and make it move on the Lamborghini. You can just see though, that thing, so much straight line speed there. The Lamborghini technology working wonders for Alex Albon. And He will stay in P10 for now then as we come through the final chicane though. Oh, big moment again. Charles Leclerc still leading the way at the front of the field. Surely this time round though, Italian team versus Italian team. We are through and up into P10 by the end of lap 1. Really, really happy with that. Well, let's ride on board then with Max Verstappen for the start of this Grand Prix. 5 red lights come on, and you can just see if you watch the Haas in front of him, the lights go out, and the Haas goes nowhere. So Max Verstappen is going to watch the Aston Martin go by, as well as the Racing Bulls and myself there, and even Lewis Hamilton in his Ferrari, who started right towards the rear of the field then. So Verstappen, he's already lost 2 places. You can see being very, very patient through the first couple of corners. But even Hamilton in the Ferrari, he's going to try and squeeze by him there as they make their way in towards the first proper chicane of the lap. And yeah, World Championship leader, he has really been caught napping off the start. Cars side by side, Gasly there, just forced to back out of a potential move on, I believe that's Oscar Piastri in front of him. That's going to mean that Bottas and Ocon are trying to look for a window.
This lap. We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Definitely still struggling a little bit with the front braking. We might try and tweak the brake bias around a little bit more there, shift more of that weight and pressure to the rear of the car, but early on, the goal has just got to be nurse these tyres into the afternoon. This car's a much better racer than it is a qualifier, but we've got to be gentle. Oh, down the inside of Esteban Ocon. You can never leave turn 4 open for me, as we will slide on by.
Good job, nice overtake.
As yeah, Oscar Piastri seems to be really, really struggling early on here. He's on a set of hards, so I think he's trying to make his way all the way to the wet period as well. There's all Piastri. Look how slow he was on the exit of the corner. We'll get around the outside of the Mercedes. Oh, Bottas brakes early. We'll send it down the inside there of the McLaren car as well. So much going on early on in this GP, but we'll make the move work again on Oscar Piastri. We'll still have the DRS off of Bottas as we make our way in towards the final chicane. Will we get right the way around him by the time we tip it in? Yes, we will. And from 16th on the grid, by the end of lap 4, we are already up into P7. Oh, what on earth's going on here? Russell now slowing down Gasly at the final corner, as I think it was a battle of the Brits. Lando Norris obviously wanted to try and take the championship lead as well, with Verstappen way down the order, but Russell trying to defend. Bottas trying a bit of a cheeky look back down the inside, as Will now trying to look around the outside of George. Nothing going on there for us. There's a little bit of contact on the exit, but yeah, brutal consistency has brought us into the fight so far this season, but a little bit of luck so far today has brought us into the fight on track. Russell, he's already dropped out the DRS then of Pierre Gasly in front. Can we have a look around the outside of the Merc? Oh, a little bit sent, but we will claim the place. Well, about to start lap 10 then, and I think the soft compound runners are already starting to struggle just a little bit here. Down the inside of Pierre Gasly, we just about keep 2 wheels inside the white lines. But yeah, a bit of P5 we go. Sainz is also on a set of mediums then, so at least we're not the only one out here. But yeah, currently 6 cars from 6 different teams inside the top 6. I love to point it out whenever it happens. Pierre Gasly, the first to blink then this afternoon. Alpine driver into the pit lane behind me.
So leading our teammate by 13.0 seconds.
Yeah, Ricciardo is completely irrelevant in this series, but now we're going to start seeing the soft compound runners peeling into the pit lane. Oh, Carlos Sainz. Okay. So the one driver in this group that I wasn't expecting to pit is the one driver that has pit then. I also forgot as well it's Magnussen, battling for the lead, not Yuki Tsunoda. And it's just reminded me that I think it was back in Season 2 of this career mode, early on in the game, Magnussen actually won the Qatar Grand Prix for Aston Martin, and now he is leading the Canadian Grand Prix for Aston Martin. Tell you what, McLaren as well, their tyre wear seems to be really, really good actually around this circuit at the moment, as we're going to have a look to the outside of Lando Norris. Doesn't mean to say his soft tyres aren't struggling a little bit. What is Lando doing there? I have to try and hot round him, which we will. I wonder if he wanted to try and pit then, but couldn't. So we might have accidentally forced him out for an extra lap. Well, I think McLaren, as well as a couple of the other teams that are still out there on the soft compounded tyres, kind of realise now that the rain is going to be rolling in quite soon and can't really afford to box as the tyres completely hit the cliff. We're still waiting on it though. It reckons it's about another 5-10 minutes away. But yeah, ow. Did we get any damage from that? We might have just got away with it. We got away with that somehow. But yeah, our tyres, if we needed to, could pretty much do the entire Grand Prix. Oh, there we go. Lando Norris, as soon as I say that. Lando goes against my words. He will finally peel into the pit lane then. So McLaren, maybe now in big trouble. Oh, Charles Leclerc, they're struggling to put the power down. So we make our way out onto the back straight. Are we going to be able to get right the way around the Ferrari though? Don't think we are. We just have not got that much top end speed. As Charles Leclerc will luckily back out of it in the end. We had to turn in at some point. I'm not going to have the AI just sat on my rear wheel.
Okay, we're boxing this lap. Give us the best in lap you can.
Yeah, we are not boxing this lap though, but I have told the team we are only boxing when it is time for the intermediates. Magnussen though, at the front of the field. I have spent too much time this season already staring at Aston Martin's rear end. Oh, Magnussen in. Okay. So AI now starting to wonder if the rain is ever going to arrive. Charles Leclerc also in. George Russell in. Everyone is peeling into the pit lane. So now, this is where the likes of Oscar Piastri's strategy is really going to come into play. You can see Magnussen has opted to go onto a set of the hards.
40.8 seconds.
So maybe the AI now worried that the rain is just simply not going to arrive. But we have just got to try and stay out here. Tell you what, that's also worked out quite nicely for Lando Norris. He's got the undercut on a couple of cars.
Rain soon. Expect the first drops in the next few minutes.
So team still adamant the rain is almost here. Yeah, Norris and Sainz there, both gaining out by pitting that little bit earlier. Oscar Piastri's now pit. So Piastri and Tsunoda have dived it in. So Magnussen, Norris, and I think every other car now must have pit in this Grand Prix. So we're the only ones still out here yet to box. The problem we've also got, Norris is running nearly 2 seconds a lap faster than me. So we've got to hope that rain now does arrive. Oh, I think it's starting. I can just see a few little droplets on the screen. The rain, I think, is here. So let's just hope it really starts rolling in. And we can make the switch. Oh, we got yellows out. Someone's going to slowly. It's Magnussen. Kevin Magnussen out of the Grand Prix from a P2 position at the moment. Heartbreakers once again. Honda Power is going to let the team down. Magnussen is out of the Canadian Grand Prix. Kevin Magnussen then, you can just hear as he makes his way into the final chicane, engine is gone. Engine has completely gone. There are huge plumes of smoke pouring out the back of it. Lando Norris almost runs into the back of him as they make their way out of the final chicane there. But Magnussen and Honda left wondering what could have been. Our completely worn out tyres then are giving Lando Norris an even bigger advantage as he tries to close in the gap. Down to just 5 seconds here with 12 laps to go of the Canadian Grand Prix. The problem is the rain nowhere near as heavy as the team had forecast. We've got to hang on out here at the moment, but we are not that far away, I think. The track is definitely getting damper. I'm going for it. I don't care anymore. We're boxing the end of this lap. Just starting to see a few little puddles forming around the circuit. Lando Norris is going to stay out there, so I think we are going to be the first car onto the intermediates in this Grand Prix, but I just think it's worth it at this point. We are locking up everywhere. Our medium tyres are gone. We have got to try and win this one. So we're going to make the call. Quick, tidy pit stop. We should re-emerge in clear air.
We're happy with that one. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. Let's go.
As Oscar Piastri there tries to get around the outside of me. But we will re-emerge ahead then of the Mercedes. So just trying to put the power down. I think we've nailed it. Just start to see a little bit of spray being kicked up by these tyres. I think we boxed in at the perfect time. And look at that, the gap's coming down. The gap is coming down to George Russell and Carlos Sainz here. And you can consider we were still losing over a second a lap to them because of our older tyres. I think we've nailed this. Lando Norris, he's still staying out there. So Norris, maybe shades of Russia a couple of years ago, but he does not want to pit at the moment. No one else is diving into the pit lane then, with the exception of Carlos Sainz and Red Bull. So suddenly now, we are going to have to start chasing. Look at the traction we've got over George Russell there. Mercedes absolutely standing still in comparison, as McLaren now, after maybe actually going for quite a good strategy choice earlier on, they've completely shot themselves in the foot here. Lando Norris finally in. Sure, Bottas, everyone else surely is going to be in at the end of this lap. So we're just 9 to go then. We're going to be back to the front of the Canadian Grand Prix here. But can we bring it home for potentially ours and the team's first ever Formula 1 Grand Prix victory? Oh no. Oh, that's alright. Oh.
Okay, the gap behind is 6.9 seconds.
I thought that was the engine then, but no, it is only the DRS, which is not going to be useful anyway at this stage of the Grand Prix. But you might remember at the start of the afternoon, I mentioned about struggling with the balance on the brakes. Well, that is being absolutely magnified here late on in the Grand Prix. We are losing so much in the braking zones to Lando Norris. The gap down to just 6 seconds already. Well, I've had to try and move the brake bias even more towards the rear late on, although it is going to mean we've got to be very, very careful that we don't lock the rears up into the corners. Lando Norris, there are 6 laps to go of this Grand Prix. The gap is just 5 seconds, and you can see there immediately how much we're struggling.
Somewhere on the internal combustion engine, be aware that we're going to start to see a loss of power.
Yeah, please don't give us a mechanical failure late on in the day here. Boy, oh boy, we want this win. Well, Lando Norris won last weekend's Grand Prix, don't forget, with a late race move on Carlos Sainz. Surely he's not going to be able to do the same to us here, as the engine warning light has flashed up as well. This car is falling apart towards the end of the race, but boy, oh boy, we want that win. Come on, 3 laps to go, 2.5 seconds.
I think the right call is to stick with what we've got for now.
Yeah, we are absolutely not switching away from these inters towards the end. But Lando Norris, this is going to be a battle that comes down to the wire. Boy, back end again. Tried to snap round on me. That was full opposite lock there. To make our way in towards the final hairpin. Gap to Lando now, 1 second. But you can see what on earth is going on with the rear locking at the moment. We have got nothing on this car. Hello, someone else is slowing down. Right towards the end of this thing, it's a Mercedes that's gone. That's got to be, I believe, Oscar Piastri with a late issue in this Grand Prix. We're too late for a safety car, but he doesn't seem to be able to get going again. Oscar Piastri then, starting the penultimate lap of the GP. What on earth has happened to the Mercedes driver? Just tips it in, gets a little wobble through turn 1, just drops it through turn 2, and I think as he tries to get going again, I think he's going to beach the car. You can see he tries to get the power down, sits on the outside of the corner, and I think Oscar Piastri's patience here might lead to him getting disqualified. Oscar Piastri, he's been disqualified. Oscar Piastri has been disqualified then, so I can only assume he parked it and beached himself. We're just 1 lap to go then at the Grand Prix. The Mercedes driver is out of it, but still, all eyes are on the battle at the front then, because Lando Norris is hounding me for the Grand Prix victory. We have got no confidence in this car anymore. All the pace we had early on today has completely evaporated here, and Lando Norris has just waltzed up to the back of me. But we have got to make this the widest Lancia car the world has ever seen here. We so desperately want to try and get the team's first victory, our first victory in this series. And as we navigate our way around this final lap, will today finally be our day there as we make our way through? Lando Norris, he's mighty confident in some parts of the track there. You can see we're just losing so much with the rears still all over the show, but I don't want to have a front lock up and potentially fire it off in towards a corner. Try and use some battery wherever we can on this final lap, but ease it into the corners on the brakes and just balance the car over the curbs there. The AI always strong out of that chicane. You can see Lando Norris, he's getting closer. Lando Norris can have a look down the inside in towards the hairpin. You can see how much we're struggling still on the brakes as we make our way through, but we will get around the outside of the McLaren driver there, and he's not been able to put the power down. Lando Norris, he's dropping away right towards the end of this Grand Prix as we make our way in towards the final couple of corners. Don't bin it now, Matt. Lewis Hamilton, Robert Kubica, just 2 of the names off the top of my head. to take their first victories in Formula 1 here as we get another slide out of the final corner. But we have done it, and Lancia are Grand Prix winners.
Well, that might not have been the finest race in history, but there's no question it was a critical win. So, Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
For me, today, the race was the perfect blend of thrilling overtakes, but also looking after those tyres and really making the stints last just that bit longer.
A show-stopping performance from the three drivers approaching the podium right now. It's been an interesting Grand Prix, that's for sure. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Well, it wasn't the best weekend for our championship leader, and their advantage at the top has been reduced. So then, Natalie Pinkham, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
I have to give it to Firestarter.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. McLaren supplant the previous leaders and take control of the championship. Meanwhile, good work from the owner-drivers team this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Well, I'm so happy that we have finally broke our duct in this series, and we are a Formula 1 Grand Prix winner with the Lancia team. Then Lando Norris, he pushed us right to the very end. I honestly thought when I got that oversteer out of the final corner that it would be game over, but we just about hang on and we take the 25 points there. Carlos Sainz in third ahead of Leclerc and Bottas, with Russell, Ocon, Tsunoda, Albon and Pierre Gasly rounding out our top 10 this afternoon. Max Verstappen, despite starting P13, he got stuck behind Hulkenberg at the start and he never was able to move past him. Then 16th to first for us though. It really was a truly historic race, and well, I'll be honest, strategy, that was what won us this one, because Lando Norris was definitely a quicker car, especially towards the end. But with that result, though, it means that there is now just a 2-point gap between our top three in the Drivers' Championship there. Verstappen still leads, but 8 points covering our top four as well. We are absolutely in this title fight at the moment as we prepare ourselves for the second half of the season. And we're going to try and do everything within our power to make sure that we continue with that form. Daniel Ricciardo still last place in the Drivers' Championship. As we said, he will likely be leaving the team after next weekend's Grand Prix there. But McLaren as well now with a 10-point lead over Red Bull. We are 1 point back behind Ferrari as well there, which is absolutely insane. But thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns, ready for, I believe, the British Grand Prix. No, we're at Austria first, ready for our first sprint weekend of the year from Spielberg.